Hello everybody and welcome to another one. Holy smokes, the guy's putting out another video already. Apparently when one is between jobs, aka unemployed, they've got a lot of time to make YouTube videos. And I guess there's another thing I've got a lot of time for, and that's spending money. Financial advice, I'm not one to give it because you probably shouldn't be spending money when you're between jobs. Anyway, what I've done is bought some new video lights, but there is a method to my madness, and that would be the fact that I don't want to be carrying around heavy lights because I plan to, in the future, or hopefully in the near future, to be going out on some locations sometimes with my new camera, the FX30, and I don't want to be carrying around the lights that I'm normally using here in the studio, which I am actually going to be selling. About my new lights, and you know what they are from the title, I chose to go with these guys. I'm actually shooting with one right now. I'm not shooting with the flapjack light. You know that there have been a ton of videos out there about the new Zhiyun lights, and I love Zhiyun products, but there are some things that I've learned about those lights, and I just decided that these would probably be the better way to go. So I was watching a YouTube video by the very entertaining Marcus Pix. If you guys don't know about the guy, I recommend you go check out his channel. He was talking about this versus the new Zhiyun lights. He's even gotten some flack for being a Zhiyun hater, which he's not. A lot of what he says makes sense, and he does do a direct comparison between this light and Zhiyun's 60 watt light. This is an empty box. It's not the light I'm shooting with. I actually have another one right here. I bought two of them. So this is the case you get when you buy one of these things. I really like this, the way it's padded and stuff like that. And it's not too tight either, which means that if you don't put things exactly the way they were in here originally, it's not a problem. Everything still fits. So what does this look like inside? Everything's really nicely packaged in there. Below the little what is that? User manual, start guide, user manual, whatever. I can't believe they're still printing these things. It's kind of nice actually, but save the trees. So it comes with this little modifier here, and at least from what I've seen in other people's tests, this is kind of a so-so modifier. I haven't even put it on this light yet because I'm only going to be really using these with the soft boxes I've got. I've got a couple huge Godox soft boxes that work with a Bowens mount. About Bowens mounts, yes, it does come with a Bowens mount, and it clips onto the light very securely. Just a sec, I'm going to pull this light out of the packaging and show you what it looks like. So here she is, the Colbor CL60. It's a gorgeous little light. Here, one for the thumbnail. There, done. Anyway, so let's peel the back off. I know you guys like that, right? Ooh, very nice. So we've got one there. We've got this little protective cap. By the way, I was watching a YouTube video where a guy was testing this light and he left this cap on during his tests. I don't know why. Obviously it melted. You're not supposed to leave the cap on during your test. Anyway, so I got that off, and now it's got another little protective film. I wonder if the guy had that on there too. That would have been crazy. Anyway, you got like the Colbor logo like right on the little. By the way, this can't be great for the environment either, covering everything with plastic, but it is very satisfying, right? Taking these off. Anywho's, here we go, and that's the actual COB. COB stands for chip on board, by the way, if you didn't know. I got the bicolor version of this light. You can also get it in a daylight only, and they even have an RGB version now. The daylight version, of course, would be more powerful because that surface is used just for the one color. And this is, of course, divided between two colors. One for your warmer range and one for your cooler range, so you can balance the two out. And about balancing the two out, there's a handy dandy little app you can control these lights with, where it gives you basically all the controls you could ever imagine. Another thing about this is the build. It's made of this aluminum, which, I mean, I think build wise, these are probably superior to the Zhiyun lights. These are all aluminum. This is the little mount that you get for putting on your light stand when you buy these lights. It's fantastic. Yes, all aluminum. One thing I would have did was this little lever here would have made that aluminum. These aren't even necessary that they be aluminum, but this longer lever, because of the leverage you get on this lever, I could see myself breaking that, you know? I mean, I'm pretty careful, but yeah. So that's one little thing. Another little thing they could have did with this was maybe put a hole through this somehow, or maybe something on the side to put a rod for an umbrella. So some of you are looking at the end of that going, how does that work with the Lite? These lights have these little channels on them, and this will slide right into one of those channels, and you just turn this and then that locks it into place. Now, the reason that they've done this, I mean, it's a bit of a pain to have something proprietary like that, especially if you've got something like this that does have your umbrella hole and what have you. But the reason that they do this, that they've got this channel, is because they've got their own little system. On the outside of this light here, on the sides, they've got a male version of that. And so that allows these to be put together into banks. And there's the app that I had mentioned. You can use the app to control full banks of these lights all put together. So you can have like a massive wall of these things and control them all at the same time, which is like super, super cool and something pretty unique to these lights. In the Zhiyun marketing material, you'll see that Zhiyun is saying that their light is 60 watts output. It's kind of a misnomer because there's no such thing as 60 watt output. It's kind of a marketing thing because you'll see two lights, one's 100 watt, one's a 60 watt. You know, the average person is going to be like, well, the 100 watt is clearly going to be a much brighter light. Not the case. The wattage has nothing to do with the brightness. The wattage is actually the power that a light uses. What you want to look at is the lux or lumens output of a light, not their candle power. There's so many ways of measuring light, but you don't want to go by the wattage when it comes to brightness. And these, compared to the Zhiyun lights, are actually brighter than the Zhiyun lights. And what also matters is the kind of modifier you're using as well, because modifiers can do a lot as far as amplifying the amount of light that you're getting out of one of these. And the fact that the actual chip is outside the body, of course, aids in cooling this light. If that were lower inside the body, obviously it wouldn't cool the light as well. And the fans inside, in my experience, I've got it set on the smart setting. There are different settings where you can have the fan running constantly, or you can have it automatically switch on and off. I've actually never had the fans go on yet. The reason being is this light here, I've got it set to 5%. The disc I've got that usually turned up to 20%. And it's also a 60 watt light. As far as the light output goes, it's clearly less than one of these guys, or seemingly anyways. So the controls on the back of this, very straightforward. You don't need a manual or anything to figure it out. There's the power button. Once you got it on and you cycle through some of these mode buttons, you'll understand right away what they're all for. You've got this little dial that's really not a dial for the power level, and then the other one here for the color on the bottom. When you push up or push down, it's kind of like a spring-loaded thing when you push up and push down to go through the color temperatures and the power in small increments. If you press on it, it'll jump in larger steps and so on. I think it's actually a little bit fiddly though when you're doing the small increments, because it's kind of easy to jump past sort of the number that you want. So I'm doing a lot of that stuff with the app through the phone anyway. It just I find so much nicer than having to fiddle around with the back of the light. Just, you know, grab my phone and I can do it all in there, which is super cool. It's also got the usual like special effects that you'll see on lights like this, which is kind of nice, you know. I'll probably never use them. You know, lightning and campfire and whatever. So some of the downsides of these lights, I've heard that people are having issues with fan noise and stuff like that. I haven't even had the fans come on while shooting this, but then again, I've only got it set to 5%, and I've got it set to smart, which means the fans only come on when they have to come on. There are some other settings where you can have the fans running and stuff. I just keep it set to smart. But I've heard people, you know, running these at 100%, and they don't like the fan noise, and then other people saying that the fans are barely discernible. So I guess I can report back to you with regards to that, because I haven't even had the fans on, and in my tests I didn't notice any fan noise either. So, and I had the lights running at like 80%, so not quite at 100. So I've been using the provided AC power adapter with these lights all week. It's been fantastic. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. I have heard about complaints where people are saying that the power adapter is making like a humming sound. I haven't heard anything from the power adapter. Even shooting this episode, I've got the thing attached to a plug that's mounted to the bottom of my desk here, so it's right beside me. I'm not hearing anything coming from the power adapter. Maybe they've updated it since those people have had those issues. I don't know. It hasn't been an issue for me. About other options to power these lights, you can also use a portable power bank, provided it's a PD type power bank and it's at least, I'd say, 80 watts or north of that. I wouldn't use a power bank that's exactly 60 watts. Because you're kind of like on the line there, because you know some of these power banks they may not be at exactly 60, and these guys, you never know, they might draw just a little bit more than a 60, so you're safer off going with like an 80 or 100, whatever, but as long as it's you know, more than 60, I'd say. And yeah, so that's really fantastic, having that option, just having one of these, you know, power banks, and maybe just having one of those really high milliamp ones too. I would imagine these lights would probably run a long time, you know, maybe even on full power, because some of those banks are pretty huge. They actually sell something that you can attach to the side of these guys too, if you want to use your standard sort of batteries that you would with lights. But I kind of like the idea of using the power bank, and I'm going to look into that further. I do make a lot of horrible financial decisions, but let's talk about the price on these guys. I do look at the price of things before I buy them, trust me. These guys are less expensive than the Zhiyun lights. These are something like $200 Canadian. I always put the US price down here somewhere. So shopping tip, because a lot of sellers on Amazon think that because you're buying on Amazon, they've got this captive audience that thinks they're getting the best price on Amazon, so they take advantage of that, and so you'll see that some of the prices are actually quite inflated on Amazon. Not so much on these. These are pretty much the same wherever you look at them. So I did buy these on Amazon, but my beautiful flapjack style LED panel that I'm usually using for lighting these episodes, it's something like $1,600 Canadian on Amazon right now. That's not the real price of that light. You can get that light for, you know, $500-600 or something like that on eBay, new. Of course, the shipping can be crazy because it's a ridiculously heavy light. The light stand alone for that light weighs maybe twice as much as the entire stand and one of these with the giant Godox modifier on it that I've got right now. So as I said, the reason I went with this solution is because it's a lot lighter and easier to move around, and for the ultimate in portability, obviously you're going to want a solution like the batteries or the power banks. So I'm definitely going to look into doing the power banks, and if I ever want to use these lights outside, for instance, or on some other location, it's going to make life a little bit nicer. Also here at the studio, it's a lot nicer not having cables hanging around off of everything as well. So, you know, a little bit neater, and I like sleek sort of minimalist look to everything, and so that'll be cool not having to plug these in. So I know cameras and lenses and stuff are a little sexier than talking about lights, but you know, they do go a long way in making your image look better. A very important component in making your images look better. Anyway, if you guys got something out of this one, please consider throwing me a thumbs up. If not, that's okay too. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of these episodes in the future, please consider subscribing. And if you got any experience with these lights, or maybe even a lighter solution that gives you comparable results, please leave that in the comments below. And until next time, keep working to make your chosen idea a reality. All right, peace.